Yeah, how you doing? Nick Daniels here, coming at you live with the cell phone vids again. Coming at you, 1080p, 60 FPS. I hope. I don't even know what the phone records at. We don't care. So anyway, this is gonna be the old Endgame review, but I decided to do this non-spoilers because there might be somebody watching right now. He's like, you know what? I haven't seen this movie. I don't really know what to expect. Is it good? Is it bad? You know what I mean? Coming at you. So, or what I'll do, maybe I'll just make like a spoiler section here at the end, or something like that, because I do want to talk about a couple things. So anyway, well, getting into the non-spoiler part of it, I really enjoyed it overall. Like it was probably one of the funniest movies I've actually seen in a long time. Normally, I don't go to a theater, and I'm normally not like cracking up laughing. Like I'm trying to be respectful. Because there are other people, right? And actually, quite frankly, normally when that happens, I'm the only one laughing because I laugh at the stupidest of things. But I'm telling you, that entire theater was just people howling in laughter at certain points. Like that move, that like they plan that stuff out gold, man. Like the plot was good. Like the actual like CGI, the effects, obviously Marvel. It's on point. There are big things expected of this movie, right? A little bit of emotion, going on in there. Like, there's a couple moments where you're like, oh my god, right? Like, and that's to be expected, from that title. Obviously, I can't say what that is, but I'm just saying there are moments where, that's kind of what you're thinking. But overall, good film, man. Solid, like action, good plot, good. Comedy relief, on point. Like just any other Marvel movie, it's on point, man. There's really not much else I can say without ruining the film in some degree. But yeah, definitely it's going to live up to your expectations. So whatever you go in thinking, you're like, oh man, like is this going to be any good? You know what? Throw that shit out the window, man, because this is a good time. And you're only doing it to yourself if you're like, you know what, yeah, like whatever. No, man, you go in there with like full hopes and dreams, dude. Expect as much as you need to, because I don't think you'll be let down in this film. It's the one of the films actually that I'm quite tempted to even go back to the theater and pay the ticket again and go see it. I haven't done that in a very long time. I think like I don't even know the last one I did that at, and like there hasn't been a lot. Like that should say something to you. That's one of those movies that you walk away from and you're like, holy fuck, right? Like, oh my god, like that was great. And you're just kind of, you're left on the edge of your seat the entire time. You're talking about it the whole way home. Dude, we had like a 30-minute drive and that's all we talked about was just this film. Because everybody was just like floored, right? We were just, oh my god, like, and I was thinking about it the whole time and I was like laughing. I'm like, man, like some of the stuff in there, and like we were all talking about how we felt during the movie. Good times, man. And like I said, it's a solid film. I'm not going to get into this and that and whatever. I don't get into the specifics. I come at you from a general point of view. Just a guy holding up a camera on his phone, talking shit, and and just saying if I like something or not. And that's usually how it comes, right? And that's how it should be, I think. So anyway, that kind of being said, oh my, I'm going to talk about a couple spoilers here now. So now, if you haven't seen the movie, please don't watch the rest of this video. I will figure out a way to make sure at some point you know that this is spoilers. I'll even like fucking flash this shit on the screen, man. Like it's going to be blinking. Okay, so spoilers, that kind of being said, one thing that I thought was really funny. Oh, actually, okay. This isn't a spoiler, but I would like to say this. This is also the only movie in my entire life of just under 26 years that people have openly applauded during the movie. Like not even like the end or anything, just in the big, like in the middle of it. Like something would happen and everybody was fucking cheering and applauding in the theater. It was gold, man. It felt good. Like you got hype, right? Because most times when I watch a movie, I watch it solo, and I'm telling you, that made me feel like $1,000,000. It was like everyone's there, like yeah, like fist in the air. You can tell it was hype. So that kind of being said, there was no end credit scene. That was really surprising. And that being said was really important because everyone was like, ah, shit, right? Like the whole theater was like pissed right off because we all waited that time. And then, but at the end, the credits rolled and you heard there was a sound. It sounded like a hammer on metal or something, right? And then there was just nothing, right? And there was no end credit scene. So a lot of people got pissed there in the theater. That was pretty good. There's, like I said, there was a bunch of scenes I could talk about, but in general, I really liked the plot. I kind of saw it coming. My roommate and I were speculating the whole time. We were kind of like talking about it, and we were like, listen, like, what do you think's going to happen? And we were already discussing the quantum realm was probably going to play a part. We didn't know how, but like some sort of time singularity that they could use. I didn't actually expect Thanos to be able to crack into Nebula and say, "Ah, fuck, right? Like, I'm going to go take these guys out," which I thought was really interesting in a good way, because we got to see Thanos kind of like, I wouldn't say like in his necessarily into his prime. Come on, let's go. But we get to see Thanos, like without the actual gauntlet, but just like in combat mode, right? Jesus Christ. But yeah, considering like he just had like a big blade, and he was going toe to toe with everybody, except Captain Marvel. I thought it was really funny when he headbutts her, and then she just kind of like looks at him and smiles, like, because it basically did nothing to her. But yeah, like, it was really good, there was a couple scenes that I really enjoyed, especially the Hulk, and I called that one. I said Bruce Banner and the Hulk kind of become one, and, they're one entity, right? That's what they're going to be, and sure enough, they were. Now, I always forget her name, but she's the teacher for Doctor Strange, and I love her conversations with him, like, or just her in general, actually, like, always her conversations, they always mean something. Right? There's always so much more meaning behind it than what she's telling him. And I thought it was really interesting there, because like, she obviously has used the time stone. She knows like, Doctor Strange will come in 5 years. Like, I never even thought of that, like, that she knew that he was going to join in. And the convincing statement is that he gave the time stone away, right? And she looks very confused, right? Because she's shocked, like, he would never do that. He's going to be the best of the order. And he's like, yeah, like, he gives it to Thanos. There was obviously a reason he gave the time stone away. Obviously, the biggest moment, for me anyway, was probably Iron Man dying. I thought that was huge, right? That was something that, a lot of people probably didn't see coming. I mean, obviously I didn't. And I enjoyed it. They played it off really well. Black Widow dying, I mean, I kind of agree. Again, I was talking to somebody else about this already, and they kind of made a good point that Hawkeye at least has like a family to return to. She doesn't really, so it kind of almost makes more sense. Like, yeah, she's got the Avengers, but, he's got a kid, he's got a woman, he's got shit on the go, man. And, but at the same time, he wanted to kind of like, for his deeds, right? He wanted to kind of make up for his deeds. But I guess he that didn't pan out, so... Anyway, that was interesting. But like I said, I like Thanos in this film, man. He was still a fucking badass. Except in the beginning when they went in and killed him. Like, they literally chopped his head off. I thought that was really interesting, because he was still like brutally wounded from the stones. And he actually still had the gauntlet on, but it looked like it was basically fused to his skin or something. Oh my. And like, I was just at my house, and I guess someone's car alarm was going off. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, it was just like fused to him, and I like that Thor just cut his head off, and then that was it. And it looked like they were trying to move on with their lives, but it didn't look like that was going really well. I really like that Captain America, too, was like having this conversation with like a group of people, and they're talking about trying to move on, and, like, they're trying to get society to go forward, because at 5 years, it looks like it's not going anywhere. But I like that there's that ray of hope that they go for it, and it ends up panning out to work in their favor with a couple sacrifices, but it pans out that, they do get the populations to come back and everything. And like I said, there's a couple scenes in particular that were like extremely funny, man. Like Iron Man, when he's, he's all dressed up as like a SWAT officer there, and the younger Iron Man is there, and he's like, yeah, like, someone could help. Just like not even gonna help him at all. I thought that was funny. Captain America fighting himself, right? And then he's like, I could do this all day. And he's like, yeah, okay, tell me about it, right? Like, that's literally, that's himself saying that. There's a scene, and I forget if it's is it Civil War? I can't remember, or The Winter Soldier, where Captain America goes in that elevator, right? And he fights all the fucking Hydra guys, right? like he just takes them all out. So it's basically the same scene. He gets in the elevator, but instead of fighting this time, he just looks over and says "Hail Hydra," and they just fucking hand him the briefcase. I'm not even joking you. The whole theater was cheering when that happened. That was fucking hilarious, dude. I absolutely love that. The scene in general, but the fact that everybody was freaking out, that was gold. I don't know. Like, there's just, like I said, there's so much I could talk about in this film that was really funny. You actually got a little bit of an appearance from Loki. I thought that was kind of funny. He ended up getting the Infinity Stone there and just slipping off. I thought that was kind of funny. Or the Tesseract, whatever you call it. So I guess that still kind of works into the plot there somehow. And I thought it was really interesting in the end when Captain America was supposed to go back in time, put the stones back, and then get out. And what he did is he actually put the stones back and just stayed. Right? He just kind of stayed where he was. And, went after the woman of his life there, got married, and he doesn't even really tell them about him, or about her. He just like, yeah, whatever. And it cuts to him having that slow dance, and credits roll. So, like I said, overall, if you haven't got it by now, I've enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It's a really good time, and I would highly recommend watching it if you haven't. And if you plan to, well, you'll really enjoy it. So hopefully you guys have avoided my spoiler section. If you haven't seen the movie, and if you don't mind, well, you saw the spoiler section, so you know. Like I said, clearly there's way more I could talk about. But, I mean, the last point I'll bring up is when Doctor Strange comes in the end, and he's warping everybody in, right? Oh my fuck, man, the crowd was going wild in the theater. Like, they were absolutely going, they were freaking out. They were livid. Because it was such a good thing, right? And again, we thought all these people were like permanently gone, so when they like reverse snapped everybody, they're all back. And actually, quite